Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Let's start with the Leafs, if you don't mind. Getting bombed last night in Game 4 in Tampa Bay. The series is now 2-2 and a best of 3. What's your analysis out of what came out of Tampa last night?
Well, I just thought that, not necessarily they weren't ready to play, but they were happy with just a split there and come home and feel like they can win it at home. And I definitely I don't think that was the best approach. You got a team down 2-1. You played great last game, I thought, and probably should have been their best game of the series. But for some reason, they were just happy coming home with the split.
I don't know if you read the Toronto Sun, but Steve Simmons said on the weekend, I was reading it flying down here to Florida, in the Calgary Sun, he said anybody that thinks Kyle Dubas should be fired if they lose to Tampa is out to lunch. This is a great Leafs team, best point total in franchise history. If they lose, there's no shame in it. How do you feel about that thought?
They've had a great year. They're a great team. I don't like the way it's set up. It should be one place 8, 2 and 7. To me, you got the two best teams in this side playing one another, and that's absolutely wrong. It's terrible. So it's got nothing to do with the GM. I think the coach, in my opinion, should get his skilled players out more often than not.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
You can call it Black Monday, Moose. Barry Trotz was fired as coach of the New York Islanders Monday morning, with general manager Lou Lamoriello saying he felt the team needed a new voice. Lou Lamoriello declined to explain why he thought, quote, a new voice was necessary. My take on Lamoriello is that he knows what he's doing. The Islanders missed the playoffs, and with Lou and certain GMs around the NHL, if you fail to get the job done, off with your head.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, Canada and Canadian sports fans in the United States, you're looking good. Welcome to the RP Show for this Tuesday, May the 10th, in the year of our Lord, 2022. We're very excited to be talking sports with you today. As has become the custom, a lot of hockey. Coming up on the program today, Dallas Stars TV host from Bally Sports, Brien Ray, and from the Washington Capitals television crew, Alan May. Mayday! A different May, but still a great May. Alan May, an Estevan Bruins alum. He's coming up as well in hour 2. We go to the NHL's Bermuda Triangle right now and welcome in the Moose, Darren Dupont. And I'm quite interested. I have it somewhere in my list here, Moose, that the Toronto Maple Leafs apparently are playing tonight. And I'm just wondering, when your feet hit the floor this morning, were you excited about Game 5 between Tampa and Toronto? How are we feeling about the big one tonight in the T-Dot?
Yeah, you really don't know how to feel anymore with that team. I get it. But no, feeling good, feeling excited for all the games tonight. But that one especially will be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, listen, it's in my, it's about 0.2. But let's hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan, as is the custom as we go through the 6 hottest sports topics of the day. There we go. Thank you. And by the way, check in, tell your friends, start spreading the news. The RP Show is on the air, live streaming on YouTube. Come join us in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to open with Monday's NHL leftovers, because who doesn't love leftovers? Johnny Gaudreau scored on a penalty shot, a weak call for the Calgary Flames in a 4-1 victory over the Dallas Stars to even up their playoff series at 2-2. Elias Lindholm and Rasmus Andersson also scored, and Michael Backlund had an empty netter for Calgary, which generated 3 unanswered goals before Dallas countered in the third. Tatar Seguin scored the Stars' lone goal. Goalie Jake Ottinger stopped 50 shots. 50 shots in the loss. Jacob Markstrom made 34 saves for the victory, and away we go. We're learning so much in this series. We're going to spend a little time on each game because there's only 4 games a night right now, and why not spend some time on it, Moose? I'm learning that the nickname of Jake Ottinger is Otter, according to their head coach, Rick Bowness, who said after the game last night that Otter is really giving him a chance in this series. The penalty shot call on Gaudreau was terrible. I feel like it wasn't a great night for NHL officiating. I don't know or can't remember who the Stars defenseman is. Somebody help me out. He lifted up Gaudreau's stick. He didn't even touch Gaudreau's body. So he muddled up the scoring chance. That's what you're supposed to do unless the rules change. I don't think it has. He didn't even touch Gaudreau. He touched his stick. Bad call. It was the game winner. And I'm sure the Stars were suitably incensed. Just like the Panthers coaching staff, which you're going to get to. That's my take. What's yours?
You know what? I liked the call, but for different reasons. And it wasn't about whether it was a penalty or not. So you can argue that. I'm not saying that was a penalty or wasn't. But what I'm saying is if the ref thought it was a penalty, I like that he called a penalty shot, because too often in these playoffs you get scared to make the call. Like I'm not saying that was a hook and it deserved a penalty. Right. But at least if he was going to make a call, he made the right one, which was the penalty shot. Not, in that situation, 9 out of 10 officials in the playoffs would just call it a 2-minute minor. I'm glad he at least called the penalty shot, but I'm with you that the call was a little weak because he barely touched his, stick by his hands. It changed the whole game too. It was very, very, very impactful in the game.
Can we get Moose some sniffers? Wiki. You're saying, you're agreeing with me that he blew the call and it was the game winner. Like, I kind of get what you're saying, that he had the nuts to call a penalty shot, but he blew it. So I don't see how any of this is good.
It's good for Calgary, good for the Flames, and for Gaudreau, who finished it off. I mean, and to be honest, at the end of the day, the Flames played such a great game that night and last night, and putting up, I don't remember what the shot total ended up, 52 or 53, I think, but it's the most ever they've had in a playoff game. They were really dominant last night and played pretty well, just as Bernie Nichols said they would be yesterday.
Oh, Bernie Nichols called it. That's why we have the best analysts on this show in every league. Corey Gurley in the NFL, Bernie Nichols in the NHL, our Bet Regal NHL ambassador. Oh, yeah, here we go. Jason in Red Deer writing in. He says, as soon as you get a blade in there, it's a hooking call all day long. I don't agree, but it was correct. No, it wasn't. He didn't put the hook on Johnny Gaudreau. He put the hook on his stick. He lifted his stick and muddled up the scoring chance. That's not a penalty. Certified hockey official here. Been 35 years, but I think it still stands. Zach Nelson in Calgary. Wait, Rod, you think that penalty shot called is weak? I completely disagree with you. Cool. I'm sure I'll sleep just fine. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says, I take back everything I said about the Flames yesterday. Restart the parade plans. That's funny right there. That's funny. I'll let Jeff, the Stamps fan, off the hook because I do remember this last night. He's like, the series will end. I was thinking of this last night. The series will end Wednesday in Game 5, and now it's a best of 3. And it looks like the Flames will come back and win this thing. Quite the emotional roller coaster. That's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Enough about that game. In Nashville, Valerie Nichushkin scored the tiebreaker with 7:58 to go, and the Avalanche became the first team to advance to the second round, beating the Predators 5-3. We don't need to spend any money on this. This is Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, my favorite WWF wrestler of all time, wiping his brow and just dropping the sweat on the Nashville Predators. We're done with you. And, Cale Makar setting all kinds of records. He is the leading scorer in the playoffs. There was, I mentioned it, was it yesterday? That Cale's 7 points through the opening 3 games were second to only Paul Coffey and, was it Al McGuinness, I think, in NHL history. Now he's leading all Stanley Cup playoff players, skaters, entirely in scoring. This kid is unbelievable. Cale Makar of the Avalanche. Everybody knows that. But he'd better win than Norris. I'm moving on, Moose. They were having parties here in South Florida, as you saw last night. Quite a few of them, actually. watch parties because the game was in Washington, and Sam Reinhart tied it late in regulation, and Carter Verhaeghe scored his second of the game in overtime. And the President's Trophy-winning Florida Panthers beat the Washington Capitals 3-2 in Game 4. That series tied 2-2. Verhaeghe scored .457 into overtime to keep the NHL's best regular season team from getting pushed to the brink of elimination. The Panthers were just over 2 minutes away from going down 3-1 in the series, but with goalie Sergei Bobrovsky pulled for an extra attacker, Reinhart collected a loose puck after it bounced off Capitals forward Garnet Hathaway and beat Ilya Samsonov with 2:04 remaining in the third period. Bob stopped 14 shots. Samsonov made 29. I don't know why this is even a series. I'm watching the starting 5 for the Panthers and the starting 5 for the Capitals. I'm like, who's this Hathaway, this Anne Hathaway? Why is this even a series? Why are the Panthers battling to come back and tie this thing? But they did. And one of those parties I was telling you about last night, David Imber is the public address announcer of the Panthers, and he's a friend of mine. And I wasn't at that party, but here's what they did, Moose. They had him on the mic in the bar. So when they scored the goals, the Panthers, he announced it in the bar. And the place went nuts. Wasn't it? Yeah. So and then Sam Bennett, like when I talked about the Panthers being upset, like the Stars should have been, at least the Panthers came back and won the game. I don't know if you saw it, but Sam Bennett got clipped in the face. It was, I think it was Oshie. And then the Capitals swing it back the other way, come back and score and make it 2-1. Andrew Brunette losing his mind, the Panthers coach, Bruno, on a missed call there. Why am I getting upset? I shouldn't even care. The Vegas Golden Knights are my team. And I am loath to talk about officiating, especially this time of year. I guess we can give our opinions, but blown penalty shot call in Dallas, missed hit to the head. Like, how do you miss? He's bleeding from the nose. How do you miss a hit to the head?
I know, and it was, coming from the blind side. And, you talk about what's Oshie supposed to do in that situation is he turned at the last second, but you're still coming across to make the play, and you don't really see his face. So it is kind of coming at the side, which is completely illegal. They missed it, ends up in a goal. But Andrew Brunette, I've questioned him on this show if he has the experience or the ability to lead the Florida Panthers deep into the playoffs coming in midway through the season for Joel Quenneville. But you know what? He put the Panthers season on the line. He pulled the goalie down just the goal with over 3 minutes to go in that game. And it worked. They didn't even give the Capitals a chance to touch the puck until they scored. He said, look, we're putting the season on the line here. If they lose in that fashion, giving up an empty net goal with 3 minutes left to go down 2 goals and go down 3-1 in the series, it might be over. But he put his balls on the table, and it paid off. They won in overtime, and I think Florida could roll from here. They looked really good after that. And you mentioned only giving up, 15 or 16 shots last night.
Yeah. Randy from Winnipeg writes in, says, bad call for sure on Johnny Hockey. I don't need the backup, but I appreciate it. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. She says how times have changed regarding penalties. And that's true. I got my certification. They have tweaked the rules over the last 35 years, but the core rules have largely remained the same. And that was not a penalty shot. But the hockey gods, you believe in them, right, Darren? Football gods, hockey gods, you believe it. Yes. The hockey gods evened it out in a couple of cases. The Panthers came back to win the game in overtime, so that one didn't matter. And as Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in and says, sorry, Rod, but the Flames outplayed the Stars and deserved the win. You don't need to apologize to me at all. I know that's a rhetorical sorry, Rod. But the Flames deserved to win the game. They did win the game, but the game winner was on a blown call. See what I'm saying? Okay, let's move on. In Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby had a goal and 3 assists to become the 6th player in NHL history to hit 200 career points, and the Penguins routed the Rangers 7-2 to grab a 3-1 series lead. Jake Gensel scored for the 4th consecutive game. Jeff Carter, Danton Heinen, Mark Friedman, and Mike Matheson also beat Igor Shesterkin as the Penguins chased the Vezina favorite for the 2nd time in 3 games. Alexei Lafreniere picked up his first career playoff goal. And for the Rangers, gave him an early lead, but that was it. Adam Fox scored his second of the playoffs. So there's that. The Penguins are still the Penguins. They're pantsing everybody. Nobody saw this coming. And by the way, the news this morning from the NHL is the candidates for the Vezina Trophy were announced this morning. The top 3 finalists, and they are, Moose, help me out, Igor Shesterkin, UC Saros of the Predators, and Jacob Markstrom of the Flames. And the last I looked, the poll is, of course, for Capital Auto Mall, Universal Collision Center. And last I looked, thank you, boys, Igor Shesterkin, despite getting pulled the last 2 games, is leading the poll on Twitter. I'm not sure what they're saying on YouTube, but that is the deal there. I want to drop this in. Rod's Rants, brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating. To schedule maintenance or to learn more about our services, call 306-781-2090. The preferred plumbing, heating, and cooling services of the Rod Pedersen Show. Are we done with this, Moose? Can we move on, or where are you on things?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm loving that Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm on the bandwagon, Rod. I'm on the wagon.
Hard not to cheer for them, and they got a lot of fans because they've gone late into the spring for a lot of years. Hey, Oilers, Kings tonight, a word on that for the Oilers fans. Stacked with 2 of the NHL's top talents, the Oilers' power play is nothing short of lethal, but stagnant special teams proved costly for them in Game 4. For the first time in the series, the Oilers failed to score with the man advantage and dropped a 4-0 decision to the Kings. The series is now tied 2-2 going into Rogers Place tonight. Every part of Edmonton's game needed improvement, said center Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Led by Connor McDavid, Edmonton was dominant with a man advantage in the regular season, finishing the campaign with the 3rd-best power play in the NHL. The dynamic group seemed to find yet another gear early in the playoffs, going 5 for 11 the first 3 games, but as I mentioned, shut out in Sunday's Game 4. The Oilers' penalty kill has also clicked in the playoffs, denying LA on all but one of its 12 power plays and netting a shorty in Game 2. Again, Oilers Kings tonight, Game 5. The series is tied 2-2. That one's all coming down to goaltending. That's all that it is. It's coming down to goaltending. When Quick is on, when he's Jonathan Quick, that we know, the Kings win. That's what the Oilers should be worried about. Stay out of the box, as I just read. And for you tonight, Leafs, Lightning. I don't know how this series is going to turn out. I'm sure you're a little nervous, but what did you heard the clip with Bernie Nichols there at the start? When I was reading Steve Simmons' commentary, his column where he said, no matter what happens, if the Leafs lose, they shouldn't fire Dubas because this is a good team. What do you think?
Yeah, and Bernie said that. He said it's kind of sucks that you got the top 2 teams in his mind on this side of the bracket playing in the first round of the playoffs. Well, it happened last year, Tampa and Florida. And, if Florida would have got past Tampa, they might have rolled to a Stanley Cup. I look at it a couple of ways. One, yeah, that does suck for the fans and for Toronto and Tampa because one of those 2 teams is going to lose out in the first round of the playoffs, and that sucks. But on the other hand, if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, you're going to have to go through them eventually. So why not get it out of the way now? It's quite a test. What we've learned in these playoffs, you can take nothing from the last game that will lead into this game. So like when Sheldon Keefe says flush it, they will, they have to, because there's been no carryover from game to game. It's just completely wild. So nobody has any idea what's going to happen tonight.
Interesting that Bernie would say that. One thing that I've made massive leaps in the last year is not listening to the opinions of others. And oh my God, is it the best level that you get to in life when you don't? And the reason being, here's Bernie complaining about that. I just get a vision of the NHL office. What is it? 212 Avenue of Americas, downtown New York in Manhattan. I've been there. The suits just going, we're trying our best. You know what I mean? Because that's how they react. They go, well, Bernie goes, we want 1 versus 8, 1 through 8. Well, we can't because we need to have the crossover, the wild cards to get the best teams in. And now you're pissed off about that. You just sit and enjoy the hockey. I have more stories about that, but I'll wait until we come back. And Darren has some very good thoughts on the CFL labor thing. The Roughriders had 5 players retire yesterday. What? There's a lot to get to. And the text line is open, 902-518-3033. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on YouTube live streaming today and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is the RP Show. Welcome, everybody. By the way, we're brought to you in part by Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. Rockstar specializes in improving your company's performance and bottom line through supply chain management services. That is Rockstar Supply Chain Services. As we roll along here, my point 3 in the Quick 6 show topics pertains to the Toronto Blue Jays. There's the Moose. The Toronto Blue Jays send Yusei Kikuchi to the mound tonight in New York, opening a 2-game series. The Yankees countering with Luis Severino. The Jays are coming off a losing series in Cleveland where they dropped 3 of 4 games. That's my obligatory Blue Jays mention. We're not a baseball show. I see people that are upset. They're saying, yeah, you could lose a few to the Yankees. Maybe Boston, but Cleveland? Really, Cleveland? You lose a series to Cleveland? And I'm thinking, it's a long season, okay? It's 162 games. Blue Jays, what are they? 17-13. It's hard to keep the hammer down the whole time, but the Yankees are. They're 20-8. So, and leading the American League East. So this is a game tonight that the Blue Jays need to have, and tomorrow as well, to take a bite out of the Big Apple. How about that?
How about that?
They need it. They need
Yeah.
it in those games against Cleveland. I mean, 4 hits in the one game. I mean, you're not going to win a lot of ball games when you get just 4 hits in the game. Yeah, Jays, it is a long year, though. They'll be fine.
Not even May, long weekend.
Yeah.
I see the unrest, but it's like just chill. Moose has a wonderful take on the CFL labor stoppage. And I'm going to read a news release first, and then we'll get to that. And then I want you guys, if you don't mind, back in the Millennium Falcon, the best production crew in broadcasting. Jordan, Clark, Ryan, Rolf, Bryce, all these guys. Yes, sir. I want you to put the camera on him so I can go get my bell, my breaking news and my gong bell, okay? Because I left it over here. So the breaking news, this is from Monday. The Saskatchewan Roughriders signed 6 players. American wide receiver Dooley Aristilde Jr., defensive lineman Ben Davis, defensive lineman Kalon Davis, wide receiver Charles Heaton III, defensive lineman Ezekiel Rose, and defensive lineman Justin Thomas. This reminds me of Cliff Clavin in the Cheers episode when Cliff went on Jeopardy. Who are 6 men that have never been in my kitchen? I'm sure they're great players. I'm sure they had great careers. I don't know who they are. What was more interesting was the list of the 5 players that retired. It was like, huh? Global defensive lineman Christopher Azila, Canadian running back Jonathan Femi Cole, who I believe they just drafted last year in the first round, American offensive lineman Bryce Hargrove, Canadian wide receiver Terrell Jana, who they took in the first round last year, highly touted prospect, and Canadian offensive lineman Matlin Riley, who's been on this show, pride of Melfort, U of S Huskies grad, played with the Riders last year, and then they cut American wide receiver Ricardo Lewis. I'm sure they have their own reasons, but he seemed like a hell of a player. So this is where we're going to turn the moose loose on a couple of things. But number one, the retirements of the players. You feel that it is exactly what it looks like on the eve of training camp. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, as they say. This is not a financial proposition. Basically, these guys are going to get on with their lives.
That's right. They're going to get on with their lives, other jobs, other opportunities. So not a big newsworthy thing here, but that's the biggest part of it. And is he leaving already?
You can get into the lockout stuff, too.
For sure.
Okay,
on the
I'm moving.
Stuff,
Hang on. I need to tee it up for you, apparently. Anything else I can get you? Okay, so thanks for your take on the retirements, Moose. Now, I kid, of course, because I love you. The lockout, the thing on, I should have had it ready to go. This lady, I believe her name was Heather Stark. She wrote me on Twitter and she said, we are days away from the start of training camp. We should all be getting revved up for the start of the season in camps. And all we're hearing about is labor unrest and a potential work stoppage and a strike, possibly. And the owners have now agreed to cover the cost of the players if the strike stretches on. So what I said to you before we went to air, and you gave this like eloquent wrap up, I'm like, can you please put that on the air, or do you not want to? And you're like, no, I will. So I said, is this all bargaining, or is it as unprofessional as it looks? There you go, son. Sprout, it's on the tee for you. Let it go.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about it being unprofessional and the difference between that and the bargaining tactics. It's bargaining tactics. I mean, when you look at the owners versus the players, I mean, whoever makes more money should have a little more breathing room in terms of being able to withstand not working and not getting paid. So if a player is getting $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, they might be a little bit more eager to sign a deal and play because they need to make money. They don't have a lot of money in the bank. They're not rolling in in dough, so it becomes really difficult for the players. So holding out to training camp before negotiating and then putting, these demands in front of the players, it's a tough spot for the players to be in because they have to now decide, we really need to make money. You got somebody like Cody Fajardo who's making more money than most, but he just had a new kid. He's now, coming up to Canada and leaving his family and all that stuff. He's got expenses. And all of a sudden you're going to tell me he's not going to get paid? So there's a lot of pressure on these players. And I know the 10-year CBA has been a big, issue. But for most of the players, they're not worried about 10 years. They're not going to play 10 years. They're worried about the 3 or 4 years in front of their face, right? So that's important there. But, I talked about it as well. For the average, ticket buying fan walking around, I honestly don't think they're paying attention to it all that much. I know on social media, and we've got our diehard fans, and there's a lot of them that are paying attention and wondering if we're going to have camp. But for the average ticket buying Canadian across the Canadian Football League, I don't think they're paying attention. I compared it to Robert Downey Jr. and his contract negotiations for the next Marvel movie. I'm upset if he's not going to be in it, but if he's not, I'm still going to go to the next movie. I'm going to find something else to fill my time. So if we end up having a strike, it will be devastating. But just like in the lockout, we'll find a way to fill our time with something else.
That's where I'm at, obviously. And I get if you get a paycheck in the CFL, as a player, you're very concerned. You mentioned the Fajardo thing, making whatever he's making, over $400,000 a year. You want to know if you're going to get paid. Are we playing or not? You got a baby on the way, as you said. I will say this, as a young man, when I put myself in the mindset of these guys in their early 20s, I couldn't have gone a month without a paycheck. I couldn't, right? So the fact that they haven't been paid since last season, it's a tough one. It's a tough situation, but I don't depend on the CFL for a paycheck anymore, so I don't really want to talk about it. So you very eloquently put a bow on that, and I'm moving on. Alicia Smith, watching on YouTube, says, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Ha ha. Thank you. It's not mine. I didn't come up with it, but I like it. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, I didn't recognize most of those retired players. Thank goodness it's not name/star players retiring. Right. Because who cares about these guys, right, Wayne? They're not worthy people. They're not stars. Get out of here. I know I'm a little defensive about that, but it's like, they're people too. Career's over? Piss on them. I never heard of them. Who cares? It's a little like the Plaza of Honor guys that went in yesterday, or the announcement that they're going in yesterday. Ken Miller, Weston Dressler, Mike McCullough. Here's one. To Joe Blow. Can you name me 5 Roughriders? I'd struggle. And I'm a fan. Right? I think the 2013 team, Darren, you could rattle off 15 to 20. You know what I mean? And that was a decade ago.
54-man roster.
Right. Name me 5, please. Charleston Hughes? No. He played with Toronto last year. Ed Gady? No. They showed him the door. John Ryan? Wait. No, they told me they don't want him back. So, thank goodness they're not star players. Who are the star players? Sorry, it's just me.
Got a lot of work to do. No, got a lot of work to do. Like, that's so important. And maybe, I always try and think that maybe the young fans that, say in their 20s and in their teens, maybe they can name every rider. And you hope that's the case. Maybe we gotten busy since we've been older, but I don't know if that is the case. Like, it's tough, all the turnover, and it's become a real business. And I get it. But at the same time, it's the players that sell tickets. And you got to, when you're that in tune with the team, that's what makes you go out and make decisions to buy tickets and buy gear and support the team.
Weston Dressler's the guy that made you buy tickets. And what was it? 8 seasons with the club. When the average career is now 1.5 years. You made a really good point there earlier. A 10-year proposal on a new CBA when the average career is 1.5 years. These guys aren't thinking about what's going to happen in 10 years. They're thinking about what's going to happen in 10 minutes. Yeah. Anyways, Ted watching in Red Deer, the CFL must have the best footwear ever. They keep shooting themselves in the foot, but are able to keep running. I just leave that there. It's a good point, Ted. That's right. Ryan McCarthy writes that he says, good day to the Rod Squad from sunny Saratoga, New York. Rangers are on the brink. Avs sweep, and 2 more series are tied at 2. Oh, and the Yanks are still in first in the AL East. In brackets, sips coffee. Well, thanks that you just showed up, Ryan. We covered it all already. How about that? Let's talk about the leagues that are playing. Jake Neighbors scored the winner in overtime, and the Edmonton Oil Kings beat the Red Deer Rebels 5-4 to take a 3-0 lead in that WHL playoff series. That game was in the Centrium. Luke Prokop scored, plus assisted on the game winner at 7:17 of overtime. Dylan Gunther, Carter Such, and Justin Sordoff also scored for the Oil Kings, which a scout said they got 5 players who are going to be in the NHL next year. I think I just named a few of them. Scoring for the Rebels were Liam Keeler, Kalen Lind, Arshdeep Baines, and Jet Larson. Sebastian Cossa made 18 saves for Edmonton, while Connor Unger turned aside 47 for the Rebs. Cosa's another guy that's going to be in the NHL next year. They got 3 first-rounders on their team, and while we have a minute, tonight's slate in the dub, Winnipeg at Moose Jaw, Kamloops in Vancouver. I got some buddies that are going over to Moose Jaw tonight. They're very pumped. Ice and Warriors. Can the Warriors make it a series, Moose? What do you think?
They can, absolutely. They've got the talent to do it. They got a 20-year-old goaltender who's got to be good. But I like it. Winnipeg is just so dominant. Maybe it's just the matchup. But no, Moose Jaw can absolutely make this a series if they come to play tonight.
Moose, we'll see you in hour 2.
Okay, sounds good.
We're going to talk some Stanley Cup playoffs when we return. Brian Ray of the Dallas Stars television broadcast crew joins us next. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, by the way, did you know that every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday? That's bell-worthy. And we're talking taco time for only $2 each. Your biggest question today, do you order hard or soft shell tacos? Beef or veggie? You know me, I'm a hard shell beef guy, but I'm not married to it. Over 120 locations across Canada, taco time. There's always one near you. By the way, Johnny Gaudreau scored on a penalty shot for the Calgary Flames in Monday's 4-1 win over the Dallas Stars, and that series is now 2-2. That penalty shot call has been much debated on this program so far today, and I'm interested to get the take of Brien Ray, who joins us now from the Big D, from Valley Sports Southwest. Welcome back to the program, Brien. Been watching you a lot. How you doing, big guy?
Doing good. First of all, hard shell beef taco, chicken quesadilla. I'm going to roll with one of those two if I'm walking up to a spot.
Good for you. Yeah. And you never go wrong with those choices. Absolutely. Thank you, Brien, for the sponsor love. Taco time. Can you please I looked up the wire service, try to find a quote from Rick Bowness on the penalty shot call last night. I didn't see one. It was the game-winning goal, and I thought it was a terrible call. But what was your take, and what are they saying in Dallas about the game winner in Game 4?
Rick Bowness didn't offer much of anything because his team just gave up 53 shots in arguably the most important game in the series. So I think the penalty shot was the last thing on his mind. My co-host, Brent Severin, I was talking with him before we went on air for our post-game show. I thought it was a soft call. It wasn't much of a hook or a stick lift, but by the letter of the law, he did catch his hands, John Klingberg, and it did technically negate a scoring chance. So I guess by the letter of the law, that is a penalty shot. The question that I was asking is, if that situation occurred in game 54 of the regular season, I don't think the penalty shot gets awarded. So why was it awarded in a game of this magnitude? But it feels like we've seen a handful of those situations throughout these playoffs, just the way things have been called. I think a few of us have scratched our heads the way they're trying to set this new standard, or whatever you want to call it, for some of the penalties that have been handed out in these playoff games.
Yes, well, I'll tell you what, man. Listen, you've been watching hockey a long time. You're a St. Louis guy. To get a penalty shot in the playoffs on a breakaway, you would normally have to physically assault the guy, not have to slow it down frame by frame by frame. And I think 9 times out of 10, that's not even a hooking penalty in the regular season, like you say. But I credit Rick Bowness, and maybe that's why he's been around for so long. Then he wasn't even that concerned about it, that his team wasn't that good. So what's flipped? Because you saw the pressure on the Flames, their big guns, for not having scored in the series till last night. What changed from games 3 to 4?
That's when I think about that, the biggest thing that changed is probably 50-plus shots for Calgary. They finally had a breakthrough because they have had moments of sustained offensive pressure. They have had moments where they've been on the power play, but it took a 5-on-3 power play goal, and it took a penalty shot goal for Calgary to essentially get a 2-0 lead. Then they add on the third from Lindholm. They add on the empty netter. So when you look at the big picture, it's like it still took some very particular situations for the Calgary Flames to beat Jake Ottinger. I think over the course of this series, Dallas, for the most part, has slowed down that top line. They've clogged up Calgary's offense. There's been moments where Calgary has had great looks, and I thought actually the 4-on-4 scenarios had been benefiting the Calgary Flames because they finally had space to operate. They just had not figured out a way to beat Jake Ottinger. They figured out a way last night, but it took 53 shots to figure that out. And you do have to give Jacob Markstrom credit in all this. For me, this series has been entirely about the goaltenders. You know, for us in Dallas, we're focusing on Jake Ottinger and the 50 saves, but Jacob Markstrom had to be really good in that second period for Calgary. As good as Calgary was when they came out in the first, and it's a scoreless hockey game still, we're sitting here wondering, is Dallas really going to get the first goal? After that first period, is Dallas really going to land the first blow again? And now you're starting to wonder what's going to happen here. Could Dallas almost steal this game on home ice? But Jacob Markstrom got Calgary to the point where they could get that power play goal. If you're looking for something that's flipped, to go back to your original question, maybe Calgary finally has that next level of confidence back. You know, not that they didn't believe they could win this series to begin with, but you're sitting here going, man, as well as they had played through the first 3 games, to be down. And then you're thinking, if they can't get this game in Dallas, you're down 3-1. Maybe things have now shifted to where that belief has finally crept in that Jake Ottinger is human in some way. And now they're coming back to Calgary to take a 3-2 lead, to try and take a 3-2 lead on this series if they can get it there.
Well, you know, it's interesting. This is the one thing we had a breaking news report a couple of years ago that I had to tell folks that everybody in the NHL is good. Good players, good broadcasters, good coaches, good general managers. And my point is the Dallas Stars know what they're doing. We don't see them a whole lot, Brien, on television in Canada. We don't. In South Florida, never. Unless they're playing the Panthers. So what I'm saying is, I'm seeing now why they left Braden Holtby on the bench. And Anton Hudobin went to the minors, didn't he? Because this Jake Ottinger is the real deal. I guess they call him Otter. Have they got the goalie for the next 10 years in Dallas with this guy?
Well, he's an RFA after this season, so until he has a contract that says otherwise, we'll see. But regarding the goaltending situation, it is weird that Jake Ottinger started this season in the minors. But you didn't know what you had with Ben Bishop. Obviously, the injuries caught up to him. That doesn't work out. You thought you had a nice little tandem going with Anton Hudobin and Braden Holtby. Braden Holtby has injury issues sneak up. That shuts him down. Anton Hudobin has some consistency issues and couldn't quite put it together. And just slowly, Jake Ottinger, through circumstance, gets handed a game. And then one game becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8. And he just kept winning, and he just kept performing. And last season, he had to do this because of injury situations. And they brought him along slowly, but he did not look out of place. At this point now, yes, it is Jake Ottinger's net. Jake Ottinger is the number 1 goaltender for the Dallas Stars. They'll figure out the contract situation in the offseason, whatever framework that looks like within the constraints of the salary cap. And next season, how is not Jake Ottinger your number 1 goaltender going into training camp, regardless of what the rest of your goaltending landscape looks like? So it's one of those, there's a quiet confidence about this kid, and he is a really mature for a 22, 23-year-old. And I can't remember the last time the Dallas Stars had a true homegrown goaltender this young that took over the net. Marty Turco didn't really take over the net until he was 26 or 27. He was homegrown, but he was a little more seasoned by the time he became the true number 1. Jake Ottinger has proven, and I know the game is getting younger, they have what should be a franchise goaltender moving forward. But let's see how it looks through this playoffs. Let's see how it looks through the offseason. And let's see how things look next season as he takes on this full-time role.
A hell of a debate who that would be. Eddie Belfour came from Chicago, right?
Yeah, he was a free agent.
Moog, yeah, came from Edmonton. I'm going to say Don Beaupre. There's one that the kids don't even know who the hell that is. Oh, man, I can sit and talk goalies all day, especially Stars goalies. Brien, like I say, watching what you're doing, keep it up, loving it, and enjoy the rest of the series in the playoffs.
It should be a fun one, whichever way it goes. I appreciate you guys having me on as always. You enjoy it too.
Brien Ray, Bally Sports Southwest, host of Dallas Stars television broadcast. When we come back, Taco Time viewer takeover, and I can tell you right now, pardon the pun, it is going to be spicy. We got some good stuff in there from the viewers today. On the way in hour 2, Alan May, Washington Capitals TV analyst, Estevan Bruins alum. We'll be right back. You are watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube live streaming, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
As we said, it is Taco Tuesday. Every Tuesday, Taco Tuesday in the over 120 locations across Canada and the United States for taco time for only $2 each. Your biggest decision is hard or soft shell, beef or veggie. And actually, I see people writing in with what they are going to order at Taco Time today. Why don't you tell me, if you haven't yet, what's your go-to? And by the way, I gotta check in with Moose next hour when he rejoins us. We had a guy by the name of Larry Dye in Medicine Hat that had a really good comment last week, and I said that he would be in contention for the comment of the week for Taco Time. But we hadn't officially started the contest, restarted it again. So I need a ruling. I need a ruling if Larry Dye in Medicine Hat has won. Furthermore, as I get to the spicy stuff, the comments here, as I said. John Kirby in Edmonton's got some good stuff here. Where the heck is he? Says, Rod, you should make a book called I Could Talk Goalies All Day. Would you buy it? Because I could write it. I could write it without even doing much research. Don Beaupre. Brian Ray in Dallas just said, who's the last homegrown Dallas Stars goalie? Marty Turco? Not bad. I went to the big board that is my brain and said Don Beaupre. Drafted by the Minnesota North Stars, 37th overall in the 1980 NHL entry draft, when Farrah Fawcett and Camaros were hot. Guy played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons with the Minnesota North Stars. Homegrown stud dog. Don Beaupre from Kitchener, Ontario. You're welcome. And I'll tell you a story that my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat will really like. My dad, when he was having some health problems later on in life, was in the hospital. He was still working with the Dallas Stars at the time. But the Stars were playing Colorado, I want to say 05, 6, 7 Stanley Cup playoffs, if that's right. And Marty Turco gave up the puck in overtime. Dad's watching the game on that rental television that they rape you for financially in the hospitals. And like $36 a day. Anyways, Marty Turco gives up the puck. The Avalanche score. My dad is on the bed, jumping up and down, shaking his fists. I'm like, Dad. Got the IV. He's got wires everywhere. And turn off the TV, get him calmed down. And in comes Mick Magoo's wife. That's his nurse. Mick Magoo's wife is my dad's nurse. And she's like, oh, we need to take your blood pressure, Mr. Pedersen. I'm like, maybe come back in an hour. How about that? That actually happened. I'll get to more of your comments in a second. Oh, thank you, John Kirby. Last minute of play in hour one. He has reminded me, I didn't even get to the spicy comments yet. They were related to the CFL. Pardon me, bear with me, about the NHL draft lottery. It is tonight. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. WHL Player of the Week, CEBL signing. NHL holds its draft lottery tonight to set the order for the first 16 picks in its 2022 entry draft set for July 7th in Montreal. The last place Montreal Canadiens have the best odds. The Coyotes have the second best odds, followed by Seattle. It's a big draft, but I wouldn't want it this year. Number one, I would want it next year. From Ken, he's watching in Saskatoon. Ken Lega says, Rod, in my opinion, this is one reason why the CFL will be in tougher shape soon. My 7-year-old grandson started flag football at SMF Field in Saskatoon Saturday. It appears it's sponsored by the NFL. He's a Cowboy, but would have liked to have been a Bengal. All the kids do this activity with an NFL focus, and all the parents hear is the CBA crap from the CFL. Ken in Saskatoon. More coming up in hour two. Stick around.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Hey, Rod Squad. Now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show. Official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You can call it Black Monday, Moose. Barry Trotz was fired as coach of the New York Islanders Monday morning, with general manager Lou Lamoriello saying he felt the team needed a new voice. Lou Lamoriello declined to explain why he thought, quote, a new voice was necessary. My take on Lamoriello is that he knows what he's doing. The Islanders missed the playoffs, and with Lou and certain GMs around the NHL, if you fail to get the job done, off with your head.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2. Let me get this thing fixed. Here we go. Episode number 753 is at hand. And we're just awaiting the arrival of our lovely, talented, and affable co-host, Darren Dupont. We had breaking news yesterday in a lot of ways. Firing of Barry Trotz happened during the show. Jeff Reinbold leaving the Alouettes. There's nothing's come out about that since that I've seen. And then the Roughriders Plaza of Honor. And now we've got breaking news to open hour 2. Let's talk about it. Charleston Hughes has signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Clark informed me in the break, and then I just did a quick Twitter search, and indeed, whoop, there it is. What's he now, 37 years of age? Charleston Hughes rejoining the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I think it's fantastic. Shows you that bridges that have been burned can be rebuilt, and away he goes, because we were very in tune with the Charleston Hughes situation when he left the Saskatchewan Roughriders and signed with the Toronto Argonauts. So there's that. And I want to get back to the NHL talk, quite frankly. But a couple things. My cousin Christine in Medicine Hat, I knew that she would enjoy the story about my dad having to get his blood pressure checked in the hospital when the Stars lost to Colorado, thanks to Marty Turco. By the way, Angie Magoo was Mick Magoo's wife, is Mick Magoo's wife, and was the one attending to my dad, whose blood pressure almost exploded that. Oh, cousin Chris writes in. She says, for those who never knew Rod's dad, he was the most special, kind, and caring person who happened to be married to one beautiful lady. Wonderful folk. Indeed they were, Chris. Very special people. Let's bring in the Moose, if we don't mind. There you are. How you doing, Moose?
Doing well. I love the stories about your dad. You know that I do.
That's a true story. I don't think you heard that one.
No, that's a new one.
Oh, there's a lot. And it's supposed to be a sports show, right? But I try to remember Randy Nichol, who's an old TV guy, but also a restaurant guy. Randy Nichol, he lives in Okotoks, Alberta. He knew my dad from the hockey days back in the day. And a lot of our relations have said, Rod, watching you on TV is just like watching your dad. And I mentioned that one time, and Randy goes, no, your dad wasn't as emotional as you are. I'm like, what? He just didn't have a camera on him all the time. When he was out in public, yeah, you didn't see it. We saw it. And you were at his funeral when I talked about him breaking Coho hockey sticks over the bridge of the nose of cattle. I learned very creative swear words from my dad. The most amazing swear words I've never heard since. Like, oh, I can't even get into it, even though we're not on Game Plus today. Today would be the day. Yeah. And one more. When we used to do cattle, as we say in the cowboy business, it was 3 boys, and we all had a job. My job was to cut the bull calf out of the herd in the pen. I would cut him out and then push him up the chute. My brother Reed, his job, and Reed would be adorned in hockey shin pads and an athletic cup in case he got kicked in the junk. He would push the bull calf up the chute, and then Lee, the oldest, his job was to, as soon as that steer came, soon-to-be steer, came and stuck his head through the hole, crank it, flip the table, cut his balls off.
How about that?
And my dad would sit in the truck and watch and laugh. And I said, Dad, can you imagine if we had a camera on that? That'd be the greatest reality television ever. And Dad's like, I don't think anybody would want to watch that. And who would believe that anybody would wear hockey shin pads and a can over their Wranglers? I said, well, we did.
And we do have that show now.
Jack.
It's called Yellowstone.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's the thing, is nobody can understand that is the way that I grew up. They can't believe it, but it was fun. It was fun. Okay, let's go back and get back on point here. John Kirby in Edmonton says, Rod, do you think the CFL season will start on time? I do. I think all of what we're going through here right now is bunk, and I find it distasteful. I find it unprofessional. And I stopped reading the text. I'm going to read one more. Jim Wagner writes in from Balgoni. He says, the dumpster fire that is the CFL is roaring again. Such a sad state. Enjoy your day, RP Nation. That's why I'd prefer to go on and talk hockey, because, frankly, I know it better. I know it. It's in my DNA. It's like breathing. Football, to me, was never quite as easy for me to analyze. Otherwise, it wasn't easy for me at all. You played it. You coached it. Right? It's far easier for you. By the way, Darren Workman says 70s dads creating swear words while doing farm work brings back so many memories. Well, that's the thing. Dad's words rhymed with sock tucker. I said sock tucker, just so you know.
Oh, no.
Darren, I didn't swear. You're starting to fidget and get uneasy. Clark just said we're just on YouTube. What? I said sock tucker.
I'm just kidding. Flake off.
Spicy.
Fire truck. Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, Rod, we had the same job growing up. LOL. Great memories now. From Wayne in BC. Sounds like a fun time at the Pedersen Ranch. It actually was fun. At the time, it didn't seem like fun. But looking back, yeah, a hell of a lot of fun. Jeff Cabillas in Winnipeg says, unfortunately, I inherited my dad's no-filter talk when watching my favorite sports teams play. LOL. Okay, back. Oh, gosh. I just want to read the comments. Brandon Crow watching from Hockey Canada writes in and he says, my wife and her 2 sisters all played NCAA Division I hockey. They attribute it to waiting around that chute as kids and using those prairie oysters as hockey pucks. Shooting them for the dog. Here's
Bingo.
one. all the raw testicles that I collected one day, I put them in a margarine container. Remember the old Imperial margarine that had the purple crowns around it? I put them all in there, and I took them to a party, a bush party. You've been there, Moose. You weren't at that one, but you've been to them. And I was going to cook them. I was going to cook them and make people eat them and not tell them what they were till after. But it didn't matter because Philip Kenyon took one, popped it in his mouth, crunched it raw. And he was smiling, and the blood ran down just like this.
And he knew what it was?
I will never forget. He knew what it was. Philip Kenyon.
That was Fear Factor before there was Fear Factor with Joe Rogan.
I know. Beer might have been involved. But the next time that we're driving to Montana, I'll show you exactly where it is because a lot of stuff went down at that site. A lot of stuff. I'm not going to go any further, but just remind me later. I'll tell you about the bikers that were on their way back from Sturgis from the rally that stopped at our party. That happened. That was not fun. Hey! I was wondering where
that also
happened. John.
That also happened in Yellowstone.
That
the bikers showed up.
Yeah, well, in Yellowstone, the Cowboys won. In the RP show, the bikers won. Okay? John writes in, I'm late. You haven't missed much, John. Just old cowboy stories. It's not that big a deal. The bikers showed up and took all our booze and a couple of women and then kept going. Kind of the end of it. What were we going to do? What were we going to do about that? We were high school kids.
Yeah, nothing.
Just to the girls, like, where are you guys going? They got the booze. Anyways, Jack in Alberta, growing up on the farm/ranch is a great way to learn about life. Rod, your life stories are going to be top shelf lore. They already are. Back on point. Jason in Red Deer. He says, I had to take a bathroom break. Did you see Charleston Hughes signed in Ryderville? Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. For our American viewers, the guys that I'm hanging out with now, Charleston Hughes is the second all-time leader in Canadian Football League sack history. Had an off year last year. Left Saskatchewan, my old team, on bad terms. Signed in Toronto, a one-year deal, and now he's back with Saskatchewan. Charleston Hughes, I don't know what he's going to get paid. There was a time he was making $10,000 a game. I don't think he's making that much now, but you can see why Charleston Hughes would want to chase that sack record, make some dough. Makes sense from the Charleston Hughes perspective, and from the Riders' perspective, it kind of tells me, I'm sorry to say, I just got to be honest, it tells me how desperate they are at the D-line position.
Yeah, unless you're getting him on a really great deal, like a real song to bring him back to the D-line because he wants to chase that sack record. It's like, look, if you want to come in, we'll give you an opportunity to chase it, but you're going to work on like the veteran minimum or whatever. You're going to get a really great deal for us to fit us under the cap and everything else. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, Charleston, based off last season, obviously isn't going to demand as much money, but is there still enough left in the tank? Only Charleston knows. And see how his off-season conditioning program's going. If he's put in the work and he's ready to go, he could have 1 or 2 really good years left and maybe chase down that record. But if last year was an indication, will be interesting to see if he gets the opportunity and what that looks like.
Yeah, and we got some great questions and comments coming in from our viewers on the 902 text line, which incidentally is open, 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up the phone and text RP. But the one thing I don't always need to be positive to cover the CFL. I'm very in tune with what's going on. My thinking when I lay awake at night thinking, well, what we're going to talk about the next day is like, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So that's why I would prefer to talk about NFL, NHL, and be down here in South Florida. Because the business of the CFL has changed. People think it's the same old CFL, and it's not. And you wouldn't know that as a fan sitting in the crowd. But up until COVID, when's the last time that you had a rash of players retire just before camp? in any league, right? That's new. Okay, and they're out of COVID now. So why are they doing it? That's something that would bear a little bit of investigation if you worked in the league, but I don't care enough to say that. Charleston Hughes doesn't want to give it up because he's had a Hall of Fame career and he's chasing a record. It makes a hell of a lot of sense for him. It makes sense for him to not retire. He'd make more money playing football than landscaping, which is what he was doing, and he's got a sack record to go after, and he'll tell you that his body feels better than it has in 3 years. So that's why he's doing it. So anyways, CFL business has changed. It's not my job to report on it or follow it. Bob, sorry, Metal Shingle Guy writes in. He's listening on the Listen Live feed, our 24-hour streaming sports radio feed. He says, and Bob's your uncle. Took your booze and girls, LOL.
Bob's your uncle.
Do I need to repeat the part that they were bikers? We were armed with a jackknife dangling off our keychain. They were bikers. And mean-looking bikers. You ever seen any bikers that look nice? Have you?
It's pretty rare. Pretty rare. The only Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's nice. Jordan just said he's nice. He looks nice. So Jordan wouldn't roll up to a bush party and steal the booze and girls and take off. Would you, Jordan?
No.
I don't think he drinks. Yeah, he says,
the only bikers
no?
I've ever seen that look nice were in that movie with Tim Allen, Wild Hogs. Remember that one?
That's a great movie.
It was great.
And by the way, this was 1988. I'd rather it be the cops show up and pour all your booze out than steal it. But that's what they did. And I know right now, Johnny Ort, you've heard me talk about him. He's the guy that he says it taco time. Taco time. Johnny Ort would be sitting there nodding his head. Yep, that happened. And my cousin Greg. I can say his name because we're on YouTube now. I usually clean it up when we're on television. Piss Jug is written in. Piss Jug. And he says, hey, Roddy, with Patty Marleau retiring, do you have a good memory of him with all the sports dinners you have done? Here's what sticks out with me about Patty Marleau. And then we'll break. I haven't done any sports dinners with him because he's still playing. If you've noticed, all the sports dinners we do are with retired sports stars. And we'll have to break and come back because I'll tell a little more about that as to why that is. Here's what I remember about Patrick Marleau. When the Seattle Thunderbirds came to town to play in Regina when he was 16, all of Aneroid was there. You know how I know that? They were wearing black leather jackets with the tassels on them. I want to say acid wash jeans and white leather boots. I'm like, that right there is deep South Saskatchewan couture. You know, you just know it because I'm from there. And the thing was, when I called those Pats games for 15 seasons, nobody's done it longer. I looked around that booth, and you've done games with me, Darren. There's nobody comes into that building that I don't see. Nobody. Right? Where you have that personal relationship with the fans, and I was like, oh, these girls are new. Oh, leather, black leather, tassel. And it's not just an Aneroid thing. We're talking Pangman, Ogama, Ceylon, Radville. Okay? That's what I think about with Patrick Marleau almost every time I see him. And a couple of weeks ago, I drove through his hometown and I thought about it again. We will take a time out and get to more of your questions and comments. It's turned into a fabulous day. You're watching the RP Show on YouTube live and streaming audio 24/7 at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is the RP Show. What a beautiful day here in South Florida. For those that like to hit the links, a live look in there on the A1A. Sports update. The Niagara River Lions announced Tuesday morning the signing of Canadian guard Munis Tutu. The 24-year-old from Windsor, Ontario, will join the team, the Niagara River Lions, for the 2022 Canadian Elite Basketball League season after most recently playing for Ehingen Urspring of the German Pro A second division. From the Western Hockey League, they announced today that Winnipeg Ice forward Owen Peterson has been named the Player of the Week, the product of Stony Plain, Alberta. Recorded 5 points in a pair of WHL playoff appearances for the Ice this week, helping them go up 2-0 against the Moose Jaw Warriors. Edmonton Oil Kings goalie Sebastian Cossa has been named the Goalie of the Week. The Detroit Red Wings first-round pick is also the reigning WHL Goalie of the Month. Stopped all 44 shots he faced this past week, going 2-0. Couple of shutties. 1.00 save percentage, obviously. NHL holds its draft lottery tonight. The last place Montreal Canadiens have the best odds. The Arizona Coyotes second best, followed by the Seattle Kraken. Kingston Frontenac center Shane Wright is considered the likely number one pick. Blue Jays send Yusei Kikuchi to the mound at New York tonight against the Yankees' Luis Severino. It's a 2-game set in the Bronx. And that's about all I got there. This sports update for Ballers Rec Room. Check out our brand new line of games. This sports update also for the Tap Brewhouse and Drive-Thru Liquor Store and for Red Bull Canada. Red Bull gives you wings. We got the Moose with us. The Moose is loose. And I don't know how this all happened, but we've got a heck of a day going with topics here, don't we, Moose, today? Some of them even relate to sport.
I know, right? Kind of wild, but no, it's a good day. Lots going on today. I love it.
Well, and I'm trying to mix in as many of the comments as I can. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, don't want to mess with bikers. Nope. For those that don't understand, a lot of our viewers do, but more don't, that I do work full-time in the recovery world, okay? Mental health, addiction recovery. I have occasion to run into bikers quite regularly. And I guess you could say former bikers, but I feel like it's like once a biker, always a biker. And I was telling you this, I think it was you that I was walking with. It was one guy. Let's not call him anything. That's the basis of the story. We were talking about some guy. He's like, well, I don't know his name. I said, what do you mean? You said you hung out with him you knew him for 10 years. He's like, in the biker world, we don't use names. I'm like, how, why? He goes, so when the police start asking questions, you don't know names.
How about that?
Got it. Right? I'm like, okay. And Jack Fulton says, bikers versus cowboys. Hold my beer. Would that be a hell of a brawl? Hey, we're not advocating fighting. We did have a poll last year. Who's cooler, Pirates or Cowboys?
Yeah.
It ended like 50-50.
No, it really did.
That reminds
me.
me.
Like 50-50.
Speaking of Pirates, I wondered off the top of the show, we didn't have you. I was worried that you went to drop a grumpy.
You see you saw that Instagram I sent you with the Pirates of the Caribbean video. We've been inundated with this Johnny Depp trial, and the memes and the videos that are coming out with it are so funny. What was it? A jar of cocaine? Yeah. So funny.
Jason in Red Deer writes in and he says, Charleston couldn't have left on that bad of terms if he's back a year later. LOL. Well, I know what the terms were very well. I interviewed Charleston in the sushi place on Albert Street when it all went down. And there were some hard feelings. But again, you're right. If they were that hard feelings, he wouldn't be back. But it just tells me how badly the Roughriders need a defensive end because they're signing Charleston. So obviously the team didn't have any hard feelings against him, so that's good. Or not as much as what Charleston thought. Chris Bird in King City, Ontario says Charleston Hughes was a bust for Toronto last season. Highly disappointing. He missed half the games from what I saw. I mean, I was quasi trying to follow what Chucky was doing in Toronto, and he didn't play half the games. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I'm sure Hughes is coming at a deal, but still 37 and didn't look great last year. That's my point. He's not making his $180,000 that he was making at his peak, I don't think. And we just lost the Moose, so he must have had a call come in or something like that. Oh, a guest logged in early. That's what they're telling me. For like 10 minutes early almost. Jennifer from the Four Seasons. I guess I go back to the viewers. Jennifer from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, I'm hooked on that. Love Johnny. Well, I don't think you'd want to be married to him or even date him. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, are the Riders that desperate? It would seem. Jonathan Woodard just got cut by the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a wonderful CFL experience there. He's an end right, I believe. From Ryan H. watching on YouTube, all this drama so close to camp. Maybe the CFL could develop a soap opera as another revenue stream. What do they need to develop a soap opera for? This is a soap opera. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Every day.
For the benefit of our viewers that weren't watching earlier, can you please recap what you did in hour one? Because I have a sense that this particular segment will be part of our best of the week. Why you think this labor talk drama is commonplace, but also unprofessional.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the league coming to the table at the last minute from a negotiating tactic point of view. It's like, who can withstand the pain, right? I mean, when you're not making as much money like the players are, the person who makes less probably has more pressure. And especially if you're leaving young families at home, you need to make a paycheck. Your career is an indefinite period, like a shortened period of time. The players might be more willing to sign a bad deal at the last minute. But, I also talked about the 10-year CBA and how that really doesn't matter to the players. I don't think, because they're not going to play for 10 years. Most of them aren't anyway. You said the average CFL or average pro football career is 1.5 years. Like, players should expect, to play for 3 or 4 years. Like, that's about it. And that would be a decent run in the Canadian Football League. And, on the other side, for the fans, I mean, it is upsetting, but we'll move on if it doesn't happen. I think the average ticket-buying public person is watching this in the news and maybe disappointed, but, they're not that upset. I think largely they're just kind of, waiting for the season to happen. And if it happens, they'll be at the games. And if it doesn't, they'll be at other games or they'll watch other things on TV. So the people it really sucks for, as you've mentioned, are the players. That's who it really sucks for, is the people working in and the people working inside the Canadian Football League who don't know if there's going to be a season or not.
We've already spent more time on it than I want to. This is why I'll never be in labor negotiations. I'll probably never be a boss, because I am not for wasting people's time. Can we get to the heart of the matter here? Oh, it was just an opening ploy, a 10-year thing, and getting rid of the ratio. Listen, I'm not here to have my time wasted. I mentioned earlier about my mental health and addiction recovery business. I charge $400 an hour. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste their time. Can we get to the heart of the matter and get this done? I think it's a joke. If that's the way business is done, cool, but I'm out. You guys have fun. I'll see you on the field. Trent in Norway writes in, Norway here. I agree with John Kirby that you should write the goalie stories book, Rod. My Stanley Cup predictions tonight are Oilers, Penguins, Leafs, and Hurricanes. Stay well, everyone. That from Trent in Norway. Tim Manto on YouTube, will the CFL ever expand to 12 teams? Dude, get on the field first. They've been farting around with a 10th team for 40 years. Why are we doing this? Over it. I saw somebody wrote in earlier, will the Winnipeg Ice hit 7 goals tonight, over under in the jaw in Game 3? Winnipeg Ice at the Moose Jaw Warriors, and Kamloops at Vancouver on the other. I mentioned off the top, we didn't spend as much time on it as we should have because they're actually playing. Can the Moose Jaw Warriors make it a game tonight? I think it's going to be a big crowd. I got a lot of buddies going over from the Queen City to watch it. Should be a doozy in the Crush Can 2.0. What do you think happens tonight, Moose?
I think it'll be a close game. I really do. I don't think Winnipeg is going to score 7 goals in the game. I don't know who's going to win, but I think it'll be a close game. I really do. 2-goal game with an empty netter.
Warriors and Ice tonight, and if you are a junior hockey historian, nerd like me, you would love the lineage of those two franchises. The Moose Jaw Warriors used to be the Winnipeg Warriors. Now they're going head-to-head. Does anybody care about that stuff other than me, Moose? Really? Listen, with the Pats back in the day, I don't even know if he's still alive. Ron Scoreboard Johnston was his name. And he was a cool dude. He wore corduroy suits and pretty thick glasses for a guy whose nickname would be Scoreboard. And he would bring up all these old stories from back in the day. And I'm like, I'm not sure I care about that as a young kid. I was more interested in what was going on the ice right now. Then you get a little older and realize that stuff's really cool. And then I feel like I've become Ron Scoreboard Johnston. But does anybody care about the historical stuff like I do?
I don't think anybody pays attention to it and thinks about it. And, you know, I think nobody's brought up that this is Winnipeg versus Winnipeg and the history of that. I don't think people brought up that this was, you know, the Expos winning the World Series when Washington was going after it. But I think when you bring it up and talk about it, I think people care a little bit. I think it's really cool to tell those stories and remember the history of the league. I think that's really cool. I think people appreciate that.
Well, you said Don Cherry's books. I mean, that's what made me fall in love with Don Cherry in the AHL was Reading Grapes by Don Cherry, all his old stories. Why would I care in Milestone, Saskatchewan about the Rochester Americans? But I did. Or the Hershey Bears because Don Cherry played there. John Ohm in Winnipeg. John Ohm says, I love the stories, Rod. I care. He says, Jeff in Winnipeg, I love Dub history. Being a Wheat Kings fan, it's fun to look back on their history. Randy in Winnipeg, Winnipeg Junior Jets, Winnipeg Clubs, Winnipeg Monarchs. Yes, all of those. And can I tell you a quick story, and then we'll break? Because we're on Alan May checking in. Lauren Mulliken used to play goal for the Winnipeg Clubs, okay? And I can't remember who the coach is. If Norm Fong is watching, he could tell me. But Lauren never tried in practice, like never, ever tried in practice. So the coach came over to him in the middle of practice and said, Lauren, Mooner, would you mind trying to get in the way of some of these shots, please? Your teammates could use the practice. And Lauren looked up at the clock and he says, Coach, see that clock up there? Coach says, yeah. When that starts ticking, I start kicking.
How about that?
That's pretty good.
Probably the greatest saying ever. Moose, we'll see you back here in overtime, all right?
You betcha.
Alan May joins us next from the Washington Capitals television crew. You're watching the RP Show on YouTube Live and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM-certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is the RP Show. And don't forget, it is a Taco Tuesday. Over 120 Taco Time locations across Canada. There's always one near you. $2 tacos today, all day. Your biggest question is hard or soft shell, beef or veggie? Taco Time. Hey, Sam Reinhart tied it late in regulation. Carter Verhaeghe scored his second of the game in overtime, and the President's Trophy-winning Florida Panthers beat the Washington Capitals 3-2 in Game 4 Monday night. That first-round Stanley Cup playoff series is now tied 2-2. Verhaeghe scoring .457 into overtime to keep the NHL's best regular season team from getting pushed to the brink of elimination. Alan May broke it down on Capitals television, and he joins us here today, the Alberta product, the former Estevan Bruin. How you doing, Alan? Good to see you, my friend.
Doing
Quite
great.
a game last night.
Yeah, it was something else. As with every game in this series so far, it's been a battle of wills, and the teams have been playing all out. Mistakes here and there, big goals by both teams, but it's been some excellent goaltending, and I just think all the way around, this has been an incredible series.
I watched that one last night from start to finish. It was the first one in the series that I've watched the entire game. Have the other games been like this? They haven't been that close, obviously.
Well, actually, the games have featured a lot of great things from both teams. And I thought last night the Panthers stuck more to their game plan than the Capitals did. The Capitals, I thought in the second period, they gave the game away. It was poor puck management. I thought a lack of urgency. They ended up getting some great penalty kills, but the reason they were penalized 4 times in that second period is, they were giving pucks away. They weren't getting pucks in at the offensive zone blue line. They weren't tough on the wall in their own zone. And, the 2 games that they've won, they were tough on the wall. They were muscling pucks out of the zone, and they were making the right decisions at the offensive zone blue line, and then getting 5 guys back in the middle of the ice. And really the only way to play the Florida Panthers, who are a high-flying offensive team that loves to have odd man rushes, is to negate the odd man rush, is to make sure that you throw pucks in when you can't get to them. You back off into the middle of the ice, you stack that neutral zone area, and you make them dump the puck. You make them ice it. You make them, force them into bad entries. The Caps got away from that last night, and I think that fatigue led to all the bad things that happened later in the game.
Well, speaking of later in the game, I don't know why I keep having a brain cramp on this. It was Oshie that hit Sam Bennett cutting into the middle, correct?
For the goal, yes.
Yeah. So what do you think? Well, just inside the blue line, right? And then the Capitals swung it the other way and came back and scored and made it 2-1. No penalty on the play. The goal stood. I thought it was a clear hit to the head. He was bleeding from the face. Alan, I think it's a hit to the head. What do you guys... By the way, your compadre, Ed Jovanovski, saying on Panthers television, because I get it here, he's saying if that hit was on Ovi, 5-game suspension. So what do you think?
Well, that's rich of Ed, because that wouldn't have happened, because no one usually gets suspended for hitting Ovi. So that's one of the things we've seen. Well, one of the things unfortunately in the game today, we have way too many damn cameras. There's like 17 in the arena. There's slow motion from every angle. But the angle that the league used, and I thought for sure that he was going to be getting maybe a 1-game sit down. And then the look that we saw that the Department of Player Safety used was Sam Bennett's own stick hitting him in the face. So if there was blood on that, it was from his own stick. Did Oshie go up? Yeah, he caught him in the hands originally, but it happened so fast. I'm not making excuses because I thought 100% in the moment that it would be a hit to the head. It would be suspendable, but that happens, and it shows Bennett's stick hitting him in the face. So you have that. And once again, we slow the game down way too much on all these hits. This is playoff hockey. This is the fastest time of the year. Sam Bennett got away with one at the end of game one where he jumped in the air and hit John Carlson, took a headshot right in the very last shift of the game when the goaltender was pulled for the Panthers. And the league let that one slide. So I wonder if they let this one slide as well, and they found the benefit of the doubt for TJ Oshie, and the stick hitting Sam Bennett. So once again, we're sitting there, so many camera angles, too many times we go to review. I feel like, everyone covering hockey and everyone watching now is like the little old 5-year-old tattletale that, everyone wants a suspension. And I think the Department of Player Safety is the most inconsistent thing in the National Hockey League. I think it's very laughable. And I think these $5,000 fines, $5,000 is a lot of money to me. It's a lot of money to you. And if I were to walk up and ask you to give me $5,000, you'd tell me to go, myself. But when we look at it, these $5,000 fines mean nothing around the National Hockey League when the players get them. Kuznetsov got one for slapping someone across the face with a stick blade the prior game. We saw someone poke someone in the face in the net with their stick, kind of a garbage move, just like Kuznetsov's was. But the $5,000 fine, it means nothing. And I see so many blatant plays now that should be suspended. And the rule of the law, the way they're using and applying it, is hypocritical from game to game throughout the National Hockey League. So, you know what? I do this for a living. It's all I do for a living. I've been covering the National Hockey League for 15 years now, and I played in it, and I've been involved. And I have no idea what a goaltender interference is, what these goaltending rulings are. And you can't go money in the bank on any call in the National Hockey League because the inconsistency. And you could take the exact same play, change it 2 teams a different night, and it's a goal. The other night, not a goal. So on all these suspensions, I'm at a loss every time. So I'm the last guy you should ask because they've lost me with all of it.
No, there's strength in numbers, and I feel like you've been reading my diary because I say the same thing. I can never predict what a suspension's going to be, and maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe we're stuck in the past. I don't really care, but it's, like you say, lack of consistency. I have to say this. Bernie Nichols was on the show yesterday, and he called a Game 4 Panthers win, and he says they're going to come back and win the series. Clearly, you hope that isn't the case, Alan, but they did win. How did that change the complexion of the series last night, the events of Game 4?
Well, once again, you've got the President's Trophy team with 122 points. I think the Caps, the 8th place team in the Eastern Conference, 100 points. A team that lost 288 games to injury and illness this season probably would have had more than 100 points had they been able to keep a consistent lineup. And, every night we were guessing who's going to come out of the tunnel, who has COVID today, who pulled up lame. And, the condensed season ended up adding to a lot of injuries to most teams in the National Hockey League. The COVID thing, an absolute mystery. Now teams are trying to drive across the border so they don't have to do a COVID test on the flight across the border. But when you look at this series, it's exactly where it's supposed to be. I thought the Capitals, if they went in and played an all defense first philosophy in Game 1 and they get a victory, it goes 7 games. If they go in there and lose, and if they try to run and gun, if they try to play Panthers hockey, they're going to get their asses kicked. And because you look at the loaded up offense of what the Panthers have been able to produce this year, it's phenomenal. And there's no way the Caps can do that. They don't have the goal scoring right now. When you take the roster top 9 to top 9, every one of the top 9 players has 18 goals or above for the Panthers. The Capitals have 3 guys in the lineup right now who have 19, 24, and 50 goals. It's Connor Sherry, it's Kuznetsov, it's Ovechkin with his 50. And then if you go 20 goal scorers, it's Caps just 2, it's the Panthers 7. And so you have to play defense first. You have to play frustrating hockey. You can't give the other team opportunities to wind it up. So last night, the Capitals actually had more odd man rushes, but they had a refusal to shoot the puck. They had 16 shots. In the second period, they had 6 shot attempts total. The Capitals only had 4 shots on net, 1 block, 1 miss. The Panthers, on the other hand, had 25. Samsonov was sensational. But the Capitals were soft with the puck last night. And I think for them to stay in this series, to go back into Fort Lauderdale or wherever that arena is, Sunrise, and to get a win, they've got to manage the puck again. And they've got to play from the inside out. They've got to push the puck to the outside. 5 guys in the middle. That's what we saw in Game 3. They got away from their template. And I think, maybe this is where Tom Wilson not being there, the veteran presence, because the team with the most hits in this series every game has lost the game. The secret is to check the puck, not check the man so much. And you've got to get in the way of the Panthers. They are lightning fast. And when I saw them this year, I think in the era since, that 05 lockout time, this is the fastest team I've seen as far as odd man rushes and fast breaks and, 4 defensemen with 37 points or more. These guys can wheel and deal. So you got to take that part of the game. And how you take that away, they're a quick up team, D to forwards, 5 guys in the middle of the ice, 5 guys stacked between the blue lines and wait for mistakes, lie and wait and try to create some offense. Kind of like that Oshie hit. That's kind of what it was. They made a blue line stack, big hit on Bennett, punch it over to Ovechkin, throws it up to Kuznetsov, who flies in and scores a spectacular goal. You've got to be patient. You've got to be opportunistic if you want to win, if you're the Washington Capitals.
It's in Sunrise, by the way, Alan, 27 miles southeast of where I sit right now. And I'll be there Wednesday for Game 5. And look, I'm not going to hold you to coming to Estevan for the Centennial Cup, but I hope you're aware the Bruins have won the SJHL championship for the first time in 23 years. And they're going in the front door, not the back door. And we're going to be there broadcasting all week long from the Centennial Cup. So clearly you're following it.
Absolutely, I am. And I was pretty pumped up the other night when they got that big Game 7 victory. And I think that's the only way to do it. You want to win the Game 7. They did it at home as well in that beautiful arena that they have in Estevan. And the only way I will not be there is if the Capitals find a way to shock the NHL world and beat the Florida Panthers, because I'll be working those nights and that weekend. And the big thing to me, I really do want to get back there. But at the same time, this is what I do for a living. This is what pays my bills. And, I'm cheering for both. I'm cheering for the Bruins to go all the way. And I'm certainly wanting the Capitals to continue playing well. And I can't get enough of watching Alexander Ovechkin continue to rise up and defy and do all the incredible things that he's done. After you think of what he did this year, 50 goals, the oldest player ever to be able to do that. And, the previous mark was 48 goals at 36. Here he does it at 50. And just in time, because he got hurt near the end of the season, he could have tucked a few more. But he's been spectacular to watch. And I want to cherish this time I have with the Great 8 to continue to watch him play.
Hey, it's win-win. It's win-win. Alan, I appreciate the time. Enjoy the hockey. Thanks for this.
All right. Stay safe.
Washington Capitals analyst and Estevan Bruins alum, Dub alum too, Alan May. The Moose is back for overtime right after this. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live. And if you've missed any of the show, you can always catch the podcast wherever the best podcasts are found, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming, the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is the final segment. It's Overtime, proudly presented by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League, and 4 Stanley Cup playoff games on tonight. And it's also Taco Time viewer takeover. I believe we have the Moose back. Do we have the Moose guys back in? There he is. I needed a ruling from you, Moose. You're the business guy. I flirted last week with the idea of Larry Dye and Medicine Hat winning a Taco Time gift card with his comment about TACO, Toronto. What was it? Remember the acronym Toronto, Calgary?
Yeah. Toronto. It's Toronto, Avalanche, Calgary, and
Edmonton.
Oilers.
No. Oilers. Yes. There you go. It was pretty good. It was ingenious. Put some thought in it. Are we?
Yeah.
But I said earlier on in the show, were we officially doing the contest then, or were we just teasing? I need a ruling
Send
from
him a
you.
gift card.
Yeah? We got it. Larry Dye, send him well, or like you can just drop those gift cards off right in the hat. You're doing it.
I'm doing it. Personal delivery service.
Game 5 tonight, Moose. Isn't it interesting? If my math is correct, every single series is 2-2 except for the Avalanche Nashville series, which is over. But tonight, they're all best of 3s now. Boston and Carolina, Tampa Bay at Toronto, St. Louis at Minnesota, LA Kings at Edmonton. I mean, you realize you are in pretty much the most wonderful area for hockey watching, other than maybe the West Coast, because the games actually start even earlier there and end earlier. But you're in the sweet spot. Yeah. Out here on the East Coast, you know what time I go to bed. It's tough to stay up for the first game. For the second game, forget about it. So you must really be enjoying this.
Oh, it's awesome. You can watch hockey all night long and still be in bed at a decent time. It is great. And you know what? These up and down series, back and forth, teams getting blown out one night, coming back to win the next night. So wildly unpredictable, and every series seems like it's going to go 6 or 7 games. It's exactly what you want. I mean, as a hockey fan, the unpredictability, it's so much fun, and I'm loving it.
It's like Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's hockey. Yeah, the only thing is that I don't really like the blowouts. Like the Tampa, there's been at least 2 games in the Tampa-Toronto series that have been over by the end of the first period. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's not fun. I mean, once the games get to 4-0 and it's early, you can flip it off. And I'm like, I don't want to flip it off. I want to watch the game. But I mean, I know where it's going. I know this one team's not in it, and it's not even fun. So that's right. We like the unpredictability of the games being tight and close and not knowing who's going to win.
We might have a leader in the clubhouse for this week's Taco Time comment of the week. Carrie with a K in Red Deer. She's watching. And with regards to my stories earlier about the prairie oysters, she said, I was going to make dumplings today. Now I can't. Thanks. LOL.
Oh, no.
It is last minute of play in the RP show. Last minute of play. Yeah, it was kind of distasteful. I'm sorry, not very appetizing, but we got into story time. Metal Shingle Guy writes in and he says, with Charleston Hughes signing, Jonathan Woodard must have another opportunity in the NFL, maybe? I guess we'll find out, because I was surfing social media and people are saying the reason that Woodard hasn't come back from being cut in the NFL is maybe he doesn't want to come back to the CFL at all, but he strikes me as the kind of guy that just wants to play ball. And I'd like to think when he came on this show, he wasn't talking out of both sides of his mouth. He really seemed to love his CFL experience, but he's got 10 days to sign with another NFL team. Moose, great job today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Great show. Yes. See you tomorrow. Enjoy the games tonight.
It was fun. Thanks to Brian, Ray, and Alan May as well. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern on Game Plus. And I said, fire truck!
Right on. Bingo. LFG. Let's go. Approved. Hot take. Spicy. Oh, good one, Rod. Bob's your uncle. How about that?